Wildfires, Assassins, Peter Baelish, The Punisher, Angelina Jolie, Those Who Wish Me Dead. This is a film that my wife and I watched last night, and I wanted to review it for you guys. This movie stars Angelina Jolie, John Bernthal, Peter Baelish, Nick from Jack and the Beanstalk, in a thriller about a boy and his father who is a forensic accountant who finds some discrepancies that may put some very rich people in jail. Therefore, they send assassins after him to kill him and silence the truth. So they bounce out and go to a town with John Bernthal, who is his brother-in-law. Characters like Angelina Jolie, who is a smoke jumper, who because of an incident at work, she's assigned to a fire tower. That's the premise of this movie. The assassins are sent to kill all of them and silence the truth. I've been interested in watching this movie for a while. I've seen commercials for it for about a month, maybe a month and a half, and it just came out last night on HBO Max and theaters. Most of the time, I would love to go see movies in theaters, but I've been really busy, so I decided to watch on HBO Max last night. I was even more excited to find out that this movie was directed by Taylor Sheridan, who's done movies like Wind River, TV shows like Yellowstone, 12 Strong, Sicario, the first one. And so I was like, this guy's pretty talented. I want to see if he can do the same thing with a movie like this. So there's 6 things that I specifically pay attention to when watching a movie. So I'm going to dive into those and we'll get talking about the movie in general. This is a non-spoiler review, so you don't need to worry about watching this before you watch the movie if you decide to. The first thing is the plot. The plot really caught my attention and it was really interesting, but ultimately it fell flat. There's a gigantic plot hole in this movie that really pulls me out of the movie. 3/4 the way through the movie, I thought there's no way that they're gonna do this. And without spoiling things for you guys, they did it. It really destroyed the movie for me. At the end of the movie, you have more questions than you do answers. And it's kind of frustrating because this movie's not set up for a sequel. It's a standalone film. Overall, the plot was interesting, but it fell flat. So I kind of have to give it a thumbs down. Family friendliness. This movie very easily could have been rated PG-13. I didn't know what the rating was going to be until I started watching it, and then I found out quickly why. There's a couple deaths in this movie where the way that you see things and the way that things are graphically shown out, that pushes it to an R rating, but there's only a couple of those scenes. The main reason why this movie is rated R is because of the freaking profanity. There are so many F-bombs in this movie that I lost count. I don't know if they were trying to go for a realistic idea of smoke jumpers or police or whatever, but there was just so much language and profanity in this movie that it was extremely distracting, and to me, it was toxic to the movie itself. So this movie's not family friendly. Very easily could have been PG-13, and in my opinion, that would have been a better idea so you have a larger demographic, but we didn't get that, so thumbs down. The acting and script. So normally I would say that I don't like this movie because Angelina Jolie is in it. Don't smite me! But she actually does a pretty decent job in this film. It's nothing to write home about, and neither is the kid actor's performance. They're kind of just meh. But she didn't take away from this movie. The plot really did it for me, and freaking kids, man. Again, when I talked about the profanity, the script suffered greatly from the profanity. There were so many moments where this movie could have had intelligent dialogue and really interactive dialogue, and it did have some of that. It did have some touching moments between John Bernthal and Medina Singh, and there was some touching moments between Angelina Jolie and the kid. Like, those were great moments too, but they were plagued by profanity. That pulled me out of those situations, and the script suffered because of it. In regards to acting, I will say, of course, John Bernthal, madman crush on that man. He's fantastic, but he kind of plays a side character in this movie. I will say the assassins in this movie, the attention to detail of the assassins was fantastic. In this movie, there was about 4 times where I was like, wow, I wouldn't have done that, and then they caught on to it and they made professional adjustments. They were just amazing. There was things that they caught on to that normal movie assassins wouldn't, until they didn't. Like all antagonists, they must fail at some point because the movie demands it. So they lost their professionalism near the end of the movie, and that sucked. But the star of the show, in my opinion, was Medina Singh. She every scene that she was in was fantastic. She captivated the audience with like every single scene that she was in. She outperformed everybody. I would not be surprised if we see more movies or TV shows with her in them moving forward, because she did a great job. Because of the different dynamics, I'd have to give acting and script a thumbs up. The character development in this movie was pretty good. I'd say like overall like the acting was decent, but the character development I'd have to give a thumbs up to. They do a great job of showing things rather than just telling them. There's not a whole lot of expositional dialogue, so I have to give thumbs up to character development. The CG did not play a huge part in this movie, and it didn't take away a whole lot from it either, but the wildfire is the only CG that's in this movie, and in some scenes it's different than other scenes. Like flashbacks, the CG for the fire looks great, but in real time, the CG for the fire is not. So ultimately, it doesn't take a whole lot away from the movie, but it was enough to bring it to my attention, so I have to give it a thumbs down. And finally, we get to rewatchability. Knowing what I do about this movie, I would never watch it again. In reality, probably a lot of people would watch this movie, not enjoy it, and then like a year and a half later, when you're desperately searching for something to watch, you may forget about this movie and say, hey, we should watch this again. I thought it was pretty great. You watch it again and you remember why you didn't want to watch it in the first place. Yeah, the plot pulled me out of this movie. It just wasn't overall that great of a movie, which was kind of a change in pace from most of the work that Taylor Sheridan has done. So this movie kind of suffered because of different things, and probably have to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I will say a much more interesting movie that I would be excited to watch is something having to do with the Assassins, which we don't find out a whole lot about, except for that they're really good. And they're also led by surprise cameo performance Tyler Perry. Of all people. And so to me, a much more interesting movie than the one we got would be one that focused on the assassins and more on what the whistleblower was calling out. That would have been more interesting to me, but we'll never see that. I truly believe that you could spend your Saturday night watching something better than this movie, but if you want to watch it, go ahead. And if you do, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you think I hit the nail on the head, or if I missed something, or if there was stuff you enjoyed. Just let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. I look forward to making more of these videos. I wrap up school in 2.5 weeks for good, so I plan on releasing a lot more video content for you guys in the form of movies, stories, travels, etc. Lots of video content hopefully coming soon. Thank you to all my subscribers who have supported me and stuck with me during the times that I have not been able to post. Really appreciate you guys and love you guys. So hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.